We've received quite a bit of interest in my Free to Be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. Through the years of working with a wide array of individuals in my counseling office and then seminars and beyond, I've come to the conclusion that narcissists tend to have a love-hate relationship to the word freedom. Now, on one hand, they love having their own freedom to do whatever they want to do. And one of the mantras, you might say, of a narcissist is, nobody tells me what to do, I'm my own person. So they like taking freedom upon themselves and running with it as far as they can possibly go. But then when they think about taking that same freedom and applying it outward toward other individuals, it's like, oh no. In fact, I'm not about to let other individuals in my world be free to be who they are, because it would turn into a disaster. Now, some of them might say, well, you can do anything you want to do until you wind up disagreeing or until you wind up having preferences that they don't have, and then it just blows them out of the water. They don't like it. They're threatened by the fact that people get to be free. The notion that the narcissist has is, I get to be free, but you, not so much. I don't think that's going to be a good thing. Now, when narcissists come at you with this kind of mindset, it sets up all sorts of double standards. For example, the narcissist could say, well, my interpretation of, and then fill in the blank, whatever the topic of the day is, my interpretation matters. Your interpretation of things, no, we can't go there. Or as another part of the double standard is, they might say, well, I get to follow through with my priorities or with my interests. Your priorities and interests need to be shut down. It's not good. Or the narcissist might think, I get to feel frustrated or angry or impatient because, well, my feelings are valid, I'm valid. When you feel those same kind of emotions in reverse, you don't get to do that. Not in my presence anyway. You're not valid. Or the narcissist in their love-hate relationship with freedom, it's like, well, I love it when you defer to me. In fact, I deserve that. But there's no way I'm going to defer to you or make room for you to be separate. You can see that I want to be free, I don't want you to be free, sets up all sorts of unhealthy engagements with one another. And my thoughts are simply this. When an individual comes at you saying, my free self is ideal, my free self is allowable, your free self is not legitimate, this tells us that you're dealing with a very, very unhealthy kind of individual. How many times have you been on the receiving end of somebody twisting your arm and telling you can't think this way, you shouldn't be this, and you ought to not be that, you can't have this opinion? I mean, that's what I'm talking about when I say they don't like you having a free thought. Now, notice that when the narcissist comes toward you, they're threatened by your freedom. There are all sorts of ways that mindset will play out. For example, I've already implied, the narcissist who denies your sense of freedom says, well, my thoughts and feelings are valid, your thoughts and feelings are invalid. You need to be carefully monitored, because you see, if you get too far outside the box here, this is not going to end well. Or it's legitimate for me to simply tell you what to do because your decisions can't be trusted. I mean, I've spoken with so many people who will say, well, whenever I go out, I have to, make sure I'm wearing the right clothes. Or they're going to tell me how I'm supposed to speak to somebody, or how I'm supposed to manage money, or how we're supposed to work on a project. You have to be monitored, because you see, if I allow you too much latitude, that's not going to work well. You are not to be trusted. That's what they're saying when they say, I don't want you to be free. Your separate preferences, well, actually, might be bad enough to where I might need to have to humiliate you to bring you back in. You need to see how stupid you are. And they're very willing to go into that kind of space. Or it may be that they'll say, if you confront me, or if you seek accountability with me, that's not warranted. That's not good enough. I'm not going to do that. You need to have accountability to me, but I'm not going to have my accountability to you. I want my freedom, and you don't have the freedom to watch me. Or the narcissist, in their threat of you being free, implies, well, you see, I'm superior, you're inferior, my ways are far better than yours, and it's really not it's not good to allow you to be free, because you see, you're unsafe, you're foolhardy, you're not wise, you're too risky. And then when they come at you with all sorts of criticisms, which is their way of trying to control and contain you, they'll say, well, it's not really criticism, it's enlightenment. And so they want to just come towards you and let it be known, you being free doesn't work. Me being free, that's an excellent idea. Now, as you try to make sense of that narcissist mindset, and as they come toward you with all this shutdown kind of communication, and you're trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do in response to that? First and foremost, I'm going to suggest consider the source. Yeah, let's think about this. This person who doesn't acknowledge your freedom is very self-serving. Who declared the narcissist's choices as valid and yours as invalid? Well, the narcissist, well, they declared that. Or who appointed the narcissist as the only one who could be trusted with major decisions? The narcissist, it's like, yeah, I made that decision. Or when the narcissist is absurdly defensive and blaming and contrarian, who's responsible for all of their disarray of emotion? You, because you caused me, because see, you can't do things right. If I let you be yourself, you're just going to create turmoil in me. And that's what I mean when I say the inability to acknowledge another person's privilege to choose is a spot-on indicator that you're dealing with a pretty full-blown narcissist. Now, I'm just going to be plain and simple on this. One strong thought that I have about human nature is nobody likes to be enslaved. Nobody likes to be subjugated. Nobody likes to feel overpowered. Nobody likes to be held inside a cage. I have an illustration that I like to give that kind of gives you an idea of where my mind goes. This is one of Gus's favorite illustrations. I want you to think about a city dog. A dog that lives fenced up inside the backyard day in and day out. It might be a very nice dog, nice backyard. But as long as the dog realizes, I'm cooped up in here, guess what happens when the gate swings open? When the gate swings open, that dog's going to take off and go. And I've had all sorts of stories of people, and I've had it in my own personal life, where the dog runs, and you think, well, where'd Fluffy go? And the dog thinks, I don't want to be caged inside this fence. And so it's the same with human beings. You put me inside a fence, I don't want to be inside that fence. Get me away from this. Or let's take an opposite illustration, and I want you to think about the mind of a country dog. The country dog has no fence. The country dog has no parameters where they just have to stay inside there. The country dog has freedom. Go, do whatever you want. Now I want you to think, have you ever seen or known of a tense, uptight country dog? No. Whenever you're out there in the country, my grandfather had a dog that lived on his acreage named Mutt, and Mutt was just the most relaxed dog you ever met. They're under the shade tree, or they'll come up to the porch, and they're just relaxed and easy going. And that's the way I want human beings to be. I want you to know that when you're in my presence, you're not a city dog that's cooped up inside a fence. I want you to be a country dog. I want to be somebody that provides a home base for you. That's what the country dog likes. And my home base is, well, I'm going to have a certain amount of trust, and I'm going to have a willingness to allow you to move forward as you deem to be appropriate. And by the way, freedom is not the presence of chaos or irresponsibility. We can still have parameters, and we can still have consequences that can be mutually agreed upon or just established with common sense. But influence comes not when you try to control someone and force them inside your fence, but when you let it be known, I want to know who you are, and I want you to be at your best. I want you to thrive. I want you to consult with your own good common sense. That's how you wind up having connections with individuals. And ultimately, if you are going to have some sort of healthy influence with a person, it's through freedom as opposed to control that it happens. Some core truths that the narcissists don't understand is simply this. Freedom is not a commodity that one human being gets to offer to another. It just simply is. By virtue of the fact that you're a human being, you have the privilege to choose. And that's so essential for you. And even if the narcissist is highly restrictive and they're bossy and critical and negative, you still have freedom. You still have free choices. Now, you may have been inside a very controlling system for so long that you feel a bit cooped up and you don't really know exactly what to do with your freedom. And it may take some time for you to get to the place where you can trust yourself because you've received so many messages of non-trust. But it can be done, and I'm hoping that's something that you will claim as your own. And by the way, there's a major mistake that I hope that you can avoid so that you won't buckle under their insistence that you can't be free. And that is, don't protest to the narcissist and plead your case, saying, please, quit telling me what to do, and please, let me be who I am. Because they'll never say, oh, well, okay, I guess I'll go along with that. Instead, exercise your freedom. Sift out your choices, your options, seek individuals who will affirm you and who can work with you to help you find your goals. But the bottom line is, you're not going to be a very effective individual if you're trying to be what somebody else tells you who you're supposed to be. Be you, be smart, be wise, be willing to gain input, but recognize no human being, especially that highly controlling narcissist, has the right to tell you if you can be free, if you can have choices. Part of your humanity is that's exactly what you get to be and what you get to do. Be a country dog. Okay, well, I hope this gives you some good things to think about, and there's so many implications with what I'm talking about. I'm hoping you can take the notion that I'm talking about and plug it into many different circumstances in your life. By the way, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. I try to come up with these angles that you can be stimulated by, and on a cumulative basis, I hope it can be very educational for you. Likewise, I know that some of you have a strong need for therapy when you've been under this controlling kind of regime and you're trying to find out what a free you looks like. It might be helpful for you to have someone to help you sift that out. I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com, and it can be so refreshing to have somebody say, what do you think? And what are your options and where do you want to go? So as the need is there, we have a link below that will take you to the BetterHelp people. Please seek the therapy that would be beneficial for you. Likewise, I have my courses, and each course has at least 25 videos with a lot of documentation. We have Ready, Set, Connect about having healthy connections. Free to be about being yourself despite those controllers. That would probably be a good one for you, as well as This Is Me, Establishing Your Boundaries. I also have webinars that are of a different nature. They're 90-minute presentations, and they're available on our website, along with access to my podcast, lots of articles, my books, plenty of resources. The narcissist might say, I like my freedom. I don't like you being free. And my reaction is, okay, you're free to think that way, but I'm not going to take away your freedom. You can be difficult if that's what you choose to be. But you see, I have choices too. And I'm going to exercise my freedom in a way that's going to be anchored in responsibility, dignity, respect, and civility. And I'm not going to be very effective unless I can claim that and take it in wisdom so that I can be my own person. That being the case, as you're able to maintain that kind of mindset, I genuinely believe it positions you to be a person of peace that controlling narcissist is not going to be. Find your peace.